I'm Matt Reynolds, and this is my podcast.
I can do the job, but running the business is quite difficult. What a lot of tradesmen lack, and I was probably one of them, is business skills.
I don't mind making mistakes. You learn from your mistakes.
Information is all around you in the minds of people that work beside you.
This is episode 2 of Trench Talk. I'm Matt Reynolds, and today we have an industry giant. Justin Burgoine, alongside his brother Paul, is joint managing director of family-owned tool company Kincrome. Justin began his working career stacking shelves and cleaning out ashtrays on the weekend, all under the watchful eye of his father Ron. In early 1987, the Burgoine family purchased Kincrome from Patterson Cheney, a car dealership, and began building their new business. Including the family, personnel totalled just 4. Today, Kincrome is a multinational, employs over 200 staff, continues to expand internationally, and is ramping up its investment with a particular focus in the area of design. We discuss his thoughts on controlling our future as a country, the importance of asking good questions, learning from mistakes, and his advice for building a career. Enjoy my chat with Justin Burgoine. Justin Burgoine, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Just for the listeners, we're in your head office in Scoresby here.
Yep.
It's a pretty nice place. How long have you been in this location?
Just on, this will be our 11th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want to start with some stats that you've, produced growing the business, if you like, just to give everyone a bit of context on the somewhat, I would say, rapid expansion of the brand over the last, you've had the business 30 years?
It's our 30th year this year. We bought the business, took over and started trading in 1st of February 1987.
Okay, and the business was in existence for about
10 years before that.
Okay.
Yes.
So in those years, 4 staff to over 180?
I think more than that now. I think it's probably over 200 now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
300 accounts to now over 4,000?
Yeah, that's about right.
250 line items to now over 3,500?
No, I think it's more than that, yeah. That's like, it's a right...
I'm underselling you. 2 sales staff to now over 45?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah, more, yep.
A single warehouse at 4,000 square metres to collective warehouses of over 20,000?
So I think we first started Apollo Court in Blackburn, and that was 4,000, because square feet and square metres is always, I'm sort of that age in between of 50-50. So it's about 400 square metres, which was 4,000 square feet. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's about 9.8 times or something. So 400 square metres we were in Apollo Court, and then now we're over 250,000 square metres.
So this is one...
250 or 2,500. Yeah, it's confusing. Anyway, yep.
Glenn actually just took me on a walk through the back loading and packing area, and
yep.
It's huge by any...
So there's 9,000 here. We've got 6,000 across the road at another place in the street around the corner. We've got 6,000 up in Brisbane, and we've got another 5,000 in Perth and 3,000 in New Zealand. And we've got the UK, we've got a couple of 3,000 square metres there. And in Taiwan, we've got 1,500 square metres there too.
Okay, so this is...
It's all over the joint. Should write that down and get it up.
This is only... I assume this is just Australia, but you've gone from 1 container a year to now over 1,300.
I think it's about 1,800 now, yep.
So by my calculations, just on the 1,300, every working day, 5 to 6 containers full of your gear lands on our shores.
Yep, yes.
Was any of this planned? Did you imagine it could grow like it has?
Good question. It was sort of, when we first bought the business, my father first bought the business with 4 of us. There was myself, my father, and 2 reps on the road when we first started. And I had a little IBM AT, a little old clunker that we had, a little computer system, and we set it up off the price list that was there. And so between my father and myself, we did everything. And the first 12 months, sort of, we rambled along, and we had customers, and we started photocopying pictures, and a friend of my father's had this. It was a good drawer, and he could draw line drawings of pictures.
Right, yeah.
And then we started photocopying and putting in the statements that I did every month, at the end of each month, and have hand folded them, put in the statements, and we did special sheets, and it just sort of grew. And then we wore a photocopier out because we were photocopying them each month, and then we got a little bit better at the printing, and just sort of grew from there. And then, yeah, I've always thought it would be. We always saw there was great potential. There was always, and then as we started travelling and benchmarking ourselves around people around the world, you could just see, well, if they could do it, why can't we do it?
Yeah.
Type stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so it was. You always saw the potential from day one, then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I always felt there was always something special about the brand and the quality of the product. It was always we're always very quality conscious of having a trade quality product,
Which still stands today from
Absolutely.
all the research that I did. So, 1987, Ron, your father, bought the business. So I've got a two-part question there.
Yep.
Firstly, why did Patterson Cheney sell the business if there was potential for it to do what it has done now?
Well,
and then,
Patto's was a car dealer.
Yep.
And they had
Still are pretty.
Yeah,
big,
yep. They are a car dealer. They had the accessories and parts side of the business, which took a lot of management, and a lot of their importing was done out of Japan. And at that time, the yen was just falling out of bed.
Right.
So it just kept on devaluing. And when we bought the business, I think from when we bought the business, the yen was at about 140, 150. To when we the first year, I think it dropped about 30% in that year. It just kept getting stronger and stronger, the yen against the Australian dollar. So we looked at sourcing other places.
That was like a 30-year decline that Japan went into.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have known that at the time, obviously, but
Yeah.
as it would transpire.
Correct.
And then the second part of that question is, what if they're selling the business? What did you see as attractive in buying it? Was it the falling yen? Was that part of the equation?
My father's passion was always to have a national brand, and he saw an opportunity, and his background with Burson Automotive, being a founder there, in his childhood, my grandfather had hardware stores in Footscray, and just having and being involved with Nilo Taps. He was a sales manager there at Nilo.
Okay.
So he wanted to have a national brand that was his own.
Did he have that with Burson's at the time?
Burson at the time was not a national brand at then. When his partner bought him out,
Yes.
they're only in, I think, Melbourne, Tassie and Albury was about the furthest. And they're just mainly Melbourne-based.
With all the research that I've done, which is not a lot, admittedly, I couldn't find a lot on you particularly.
Me?
On you, yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what I did
Good.
find. I did find a few things, but they were always in the context of a celebrity golf match, something along those lines, some sort of charity donation that you'd made. So you must like your golf as a side
mad
note.
golfer.
Mad
Yeah, I
golfer.
love my golf. Yeah, absolutely.
How much do you play?
I was playing once a week, but it seems the last 12 months it's sort of dropped off a bit. But just being very busy with the business. We've just gone through a bit of an expansion phase again.
Yep.
We've always sort of had expand, but really ramping it up at the moment with opening up an office in the UK.
Okay.
So with Bunnings, one of our major customers, opening up in the UK, we've gone over and supported them in opening up in the UK.
So Bunnings is your first exposure in the UK, is that right?
Yeah.
You've followed them in to support them?
Absolutely.
And we're just talking before we started the podcast here, but you've also been, well, how long have you been in China for now?
Oh, gee, we've now been in China and Taiwan for nearly 28 years. So pretty quickly after Japan was, getting far too expensive and too difficult to deal with, we moved across a lot of our production to Taiwan,
Yep.
which we always wanted quality. We all, and when we went to go and talk to factories, we always used to say, want three things.
Yeah.
And you could see them, squirming and they're going to price. And we said, want quality.
Okay.
And, it's a bit of a joke between some of our long-standing factory owners. We are, the three quality man, So we always wanted quality, For us, we'd rather spend a little bit more, but get a better quality product.
Was that a concern moving from Japan to China at that
Huge.
time?
Absolutely.
Because if I'm remembering correctly, China wasn't exactly, they are today, but they weren't exactly known for their quality.
Absolutely.
Going back 30 years.
Absolutely. And it was finding the factories and partners that we could work with, because there was a lot of factories that didn't want to touch us, our volumes were too small, we weren't, a big national brand, we were small potatoes, we were really small. So it was quite difficult to get support from factories. It was very difficult.
Not that I've done it, but a lot of businesses go into China or go to China for the manufacturing and can't make a success of it.
Yep.
What do you think was the reason you succeeded there?
Look, I put it down to a couple of key partners. We were lucky to find a couple of key people that we worked with and have worked with ever since. We really worked really hard and close with them. We probably didn't get the right price to start off with. We probably didn't get, we overloaded ourselves with stock, but we really worked hard at working with the relationships, very hard, and driving something different. We wanted to improve the quality. We wanted to have something better. So what we found was we were, improving packaging, improving design. We wanted to make the product look better and be better. And I think that attitude and that relationship with the factories especially helped us in the long term. What we're doing is, once upon a time it was just packaging and design. Now it's full product design that we're doing. We've got 2 full-time industrial designers here. We've got 6 designers that we do all of our own packaging, all our own photography, all our own cataloguing. So everything that we do in-house ourselves, photography, videos, everything in-house ourselves, and packaging. So we're now doing the next level where we're doing our own full design. So we've got 2 here, we've got 1 in Taiwan, and that's a big area I want to invest in. I see...
Design.
Absolutely. I think Australians are, if not the best, one of the best designers, creative designers in the world.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
And why do you have that opinion? You've travelled the world and you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think our creative design has got practicality. We have practical. We want to make it better, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We add style to product and design without making it look niche and crazy. I just think we've got great design. I think you see from the automotive industry with what we're doing with Ford and Holden now. There's great design centres we have in Australia. Fashion design, I think we're one of the, we're right up there. So, I think it's some adding the value with what we do in Australia. Our design schools, I think, some of the industrial design schools are the best in Australia. RMIT and a few other places are highly regarded around the world.
And in some ways, I guess, as a country, we need to get better at those things too.
Well, then it's hard to compete with manufacturing because of our cost of labour is expensive. But, I think if we can be better designers, that's when we can be better at controlling our own destiny. Excuse me.
Where does this underlying thirst for growth come from?
I don't know. Probably from my father. We always strive to be better. We want to, we see ourselves as, wanting to do better all the time. Something that I'm not sure. We just with this business, we've always reinvested heavily into it. Heavily being 98% of what we make, we pour back into the place.
Right.
To be better, we just see there's great opportunity. People love the brand. It is a great brand, and we just see that we see there's some great opportunities to make it better.
In terms of a life cycle, where do you see your business today, and is there room to supply more tools to the Australian market? Because if manufacturing is decreasing, and the design aspect and these other things are becoming more popular, if you like, I know we've got an increasing population, but does that mean we have a decline in tool use? Or are we using more tools today than we were yesterday? It's probably the best way.
Yeah, I think maybe, yeah, well, I think we are. You know, there's big building boom within Australia. You know, we saw it with the mining boom. There was certainly with a lot of tools. But, you know, we've been known as like a mechanics tool brand.
Yes.
And our strategy is to be broader on range.
Yep.
And bring quality like we've done with our plumbing tool range.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
We've worked very closely with a great customer of ours with TradeLink.
Yep.
And it was working closely with customers and our customer relationship that we pride ourselves on. Being an Australian-known business, when we make a decision, it's made with us.
Yep.
And gets done. So, you know, the TradeLink team have been fantastic and they've wanted to be very proactive. And we've been proactive working with great factories all over the world to bring unique, innovative products. We've added a lot of working with customers and end users with lots of plumbers. We do a lot of work where we call a trade focus, where we work with trades and give samples and give us, you know, honest, straight feedback. Tell if it's shit or if it's not.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've done really well with that. That's something with our plumbing range, which we've started in a good basic range, but we've got another 130 odd products added into the range over the next 12 months. So that's exciting to see that grow into new categories. That's where we see our growth, and seeing new categories, developing products with customers or a customer in that category, and investing in a new range of products. So not just spanners and sockets, plumbing tools or masonry tools or, you know, other categories or other market segments that we can go into.
I was in TradeLink, I would say 6 or 12 months ago, who we used quite a lot, and it just seemed out of nowhere that the Kincrome brand had taken over their stores. And I did a little bit of background research on this, and you've gone out and actually sourced and I guess designed a number of plumbing specific products to satisfy, I guess, their requirements. Would that be right?
Yeah, we have, and it's really been good to see the feedback that it's not just the same product. It's not just the same as everyone else has got. We've gone and found and worked with a couple of other a couple of other factories from not just China and Taiwan, mainly Taiwan actually, but some other product from around the world in the US and Europe also, with some really great quality spring-loaded pipe cutting tools that just like precision instruments. They're beautiful, you know. So I'm a tool guy, and I love tools, and I just see, you know, something like that. And I'm proud of what we've done. That we just don't get the same stuff, whack a brand on it, whack a label on it. Away we go. We've found things that are got a bit of uniqueness. There's a bit of quality behind it.
And is that what your brand stands for? I mean, what can if I pick up a Kincrome set of benders, for example, what can I expect over brand X sitting next to it?
Well, quality. You know, we really want to have that trade quality. Kincrome is a trade quality brand.
Yes.
And we see ourselves as that. We see ourselves evolving even more so with our own design and our own products as time goes on. But yeah, mainly trade quality. That's our focus.
Okay. And you mentioned you want to make, or you already do, but you want to make a more significant investment in design. Yep. What does that look like in the next 12 to 24 months for you guys?
So we have spent this financial year just gone. We'll just spend over $800,000 US.
Yep.
And we want to grow that 20% a year and just compound it every year.
Further investment into design,
in our own design and tooling. Yep.
And is that big? Because you can sell that because the market needs it, like.
We just see it as it controls our own destiny. We feel that with our own, if we have things that are unique and everyone sees, and I think it's the old, that's the same hammer or that's the same pair of cutters, or it's things that are unique. And you see the next generation of tradespeople coming through. I think they're smarter than they've ever been. I think they're more educated than they've ever been. And, with mobile phone applications and the world opening up to technologies, you can learn about things on YouTube and how to fix things so much faster. So I can see we've got to be a little bit more innovative. We've got to bring innovation into the programs and products we do going forward. I just think we can't just rest on our laurels and just have the same thing over and over and over and over and over and just think it's going to sell forever.
So will technology come into tooling? I mean, we've seen it a little bit, and we've certainly seen it on the admin side of our businesses, as everybody else has. Can technology change the way a spanner is used? I'm not sure. Do we have to worry about robots stealing our jobs just yet? Like, where are we heading? Because
I think there will be, but I still think at the old we still build buildings similar to what we have probably the last couple of 100 years. Materials have got better. I think we're getting better at putting them faster and more efficient, and probably better at building things. But when you're down a 6 foot trench and it's there's mud and shit everywhere, and you drop your level or you drop your hammer, if you drop your mobile phone in it, it's cactus. Yeah. So there's got to measuring things, and there's still going to be that old school. It's got to be ruggedness or toughness, I call it. Yeah. I think tools, and that's what we see. It's got to look good. It's got to be efficient, but it's also got to be tough.
And that comes back to the quality. I'm sensing this, the toughness, the quality, this kind of can-do attitude is that built? I mean, is that a good description of your overall culture of the company?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you recruit to ensure that culture is maintained and grows? I mean, I know it's a buzzword and we hear so much about it, but I'm interested in your thoughts on maintaining that direction.
Well, look, this business has been successful, not just because of myself and my father, far from it. It's been successful from the great people we have around us. And everyone says that. That's a cliche. But, our first employee that we've got from February 1987, February 1988, Mark Minarelli is the head of our marketing team. Okay. And he's been a good mate of mine. We've worked together in this business for, I'm 30 years, he's 29 years.
Yeah.
And, we call ourselves blue bloods. As part of our values is to be a blue blood.
Oh, I did read that, yeah.
Yeah, so not as if you want to be royalty, but it's, that you bleed blue for the company, that you really, you understand what being a Kincrome person is all about, and be a team player. Our people, we've got great people, really, and we've really, really got some fantastic people.
And when you're looking for someone to fill a new position or that comes about, how do you ensure that continues to happen?
I think for us, we call it, being a blue blood, but it's also got to do an apprenticeship. It's not as if come in and have the right attitude. So it's got to be a bit of an apprenticeship it's not an apprenticeship as per se. It's not, there's a time and this is what you're going to do and this is what you've got to get to, but we invest a lot in training our people. We invest a lot in the induction of people. We set expectations from what we want from our people. And it's the enthusiasm. It's how people get involved. It's how people ask questions. That's the big thing for us. If they're asking questions and not, doing as little as possible, we see that they've, come through. And we always go through a 6-month review for our first employees for the first 2 years. So we have a 4-stage review process, and we sit down with them and go through how they're feeling and how we are, and be absolutely straight with them on how what our expectations are. Okay. Not easy discussions, but it's best to have those up front and be straight with people.
And you're not afraid to tackle those things head on, I would assume?
Well, it's like how I'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
Telling me as it is. If I'm not doing the right thing, well, what can I do to improve?
Yeah. Do you generally promote from within, or does your history suggest that you sort of bring people up if you invest in training?
Yeah.
Or do you go outside when you need to? Is it a...
Interesting. Yeah, good question. Really good. We've just gone through a bit of a cycle. As the business last 30 years, we've promoted heavily from within. And up until probably 18 months ago, we sort of went outside a little bit. We thought we needed to bring some outside people into the business, we've had some great success. We've had some real good winners and people come on board. but we haven't had. Sometimes we've had some losers, not losers. What's the word I'm looking for? Haven't been successful, as successful as we wanted it to be.
Do you have a natural tendency to go one way though? Or?
Yeah, we do. I love promoting from within. I love seeing people come, and we've got a lot of, our head of merchandise, Chris Collins, or Tank, we call him.
Yeah.
He's a good man. He's come from the Ware, come from assembling toolkits. When he started with us, he had dreadlocks down past his arse, or bottom, I should say. So he and had more holes in his ears and his tongue and his lips and everything like that. And he's awesome, smart man that's done a fantastic job for us. And we've got dozens of those stories, dozens of stories like that.
Actually, when did you take over as managing director?
I was joint managing director with my brother for the last 12 years. Okay. And now we're expanding internationally. My brother's now heading that expansion internationally. So he's spending a lot of time in the US and UK and Europe. So we see our expansion as a business internationally to see some real growth. So my brother Paul, he's been with the business 20 odd years now. So he's come in now to head that expansion internationally.
And Ron ran the business up until that point? Is that right?
Up until about 12 odd years ago, yeah.
Okay.
12, 15 years ago.
The reason I asked about that underlying thirst for growth, I think I called it, is because was that the start of your working career did you have employment before Kincrome?
I worked at Burgoine Auto before that. Yeah, as a kid, I worked every weekend before I could go and play golf. I had to go and work at Burgoine. They'd stack shelves or empty ashtrays, and then at Burgoine also owned Highway Brake and Clutch, which my father ran for a while. Yeah. So I went over and rebuilt clutches.
Okay, I wanted to ask about your dad in particular because you've obviously grown up under him, but not in a home sense, but also in a business sense. Yep. And to be able to continue to improve and continue to learn, I mean, the skill set you need in a 4-person business is quite a bit different, I would imagine. Not that I've ever done it, but to a 200-person business.
It is,
right?
yeah.
And to grow into that, how did he go about teaching you that? Was it his lessons that you followed? Did you look outside of the business? Like, how did this steep trajectory of improvement, I guess you would say, or new skill acquisition actually happen?
My father's been fantastic. I've worked with him since I've been a kid. So, I can remember as a kid driving with him and pencilling, doing stock taking when Burson had cash vans in Bendigo and Ballarat. And I remember pencilling in those stock takes and counting out stock. And so I've worked with him for a long, long time. We sound the same. We act the same. It's, very uncanny. But we've respect and admire him greatly. He's an awesome entrepreneur, and the amount of passion and drive he's got comes out in me, comes out in everybody that probably works around us. But we've also he's been wise enough to surround me with some great mentors. Okay. And some people that I've been able to talk to, learn off, benchmark myself against. And also I've done a few training courses and things like that, and also travel extensively. I think travelling and seeing things around the world is a great learning experience.
Can you give me a specific example of that? Did he walk in as a young guy and say, "Hey, Justin, you got to listen to this guy, do what he says"? How did that? If you've got an example of how that actually plays out.
Yeah. Look, there was a couple of guys that we met, and a good example would be a bloke that we now employ in the UK, who was there, Nick Hodge, who was the Draper Tools in the UK, similar business to us in the UK, family-owned business, 75-year history, I think 100-year history now. And Nick was their sales director. And, I just kept in contact with him, and, we were just really impressed with him, and the old man said, just keep in contact with Nick. And so I just kept in contact. And days of fax machines, just sending fax and talking on the phone. And when was there a trade fair on, we would catch up. So every Cologne hardware fair in Germany, we would catch up. You know, the second night of the fair was always the Aussies and the Poms. So we would catch up. What are you doing? What am I doing? And just benchmarking and how you're about going and who you're buying from and what products are working, what categories are working, and just talking to people.
And did you find similarities between Australia and the UK?
Yeah, very much.
Okay.
Found similarities between people. And I think benchmarking yourself against people is fantastic. And then especially competitors, yes, if they want to talk. In Australia we find your competitors don't want to talk, they don't want to tell you anything. So
it's funny you should say that. I've noticed the same thing, yeah.
They just don't want to, no, you might learn to. So we found different wholesalers all around, all around the world. And just going to meet them and talk to them. How did they go about doing it? What was their story? How did they go about doing things? What was successful for them? What was their DNA of their business? And how did they, what was their key success factors?
And again, do you have an example of an idea that you saw in the UK,
yep,
you've grabbed and come back and implemented it, and then it's worked here?
Yeah, there was a Sealy tool in the UK, and good friends of ours, Mark Sweetman and the boys, they were big, strong in equipment, and they had spare parts. My God, I think they had 8 full-time people just ordering spare parts. Then they had about another 12 odd people assorting and sending spare parts out. And they worked on this principle: if they had a product, they should be able to have the spare part to assemble the whole product.
Okay, so a complete set.
Oh, it's just. But they went to the nth degree. Like every nut, bolt, screw. If they had a socket set, they had a 10mm socket. They'd have it for each. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So
we ended up having spare parts, and so it's, to us, if we're going to have product, we need to have spare parts. So we have 4,500 products. We have 63,000 different spare parts.
Okay.
So same as, and I think the guys in the UK, I think they've got a couple of 100,000 spare parts. Like, it's enormous. But that's the service. If you want to be in the business, you want to sell a product, you've got to be able to back it up with service.
So that means if I have a Kincrome product today,
yep,
I can get the spare part tomorrow if I come here or go to my supplier or
yep,
however it works.
Correct. And if we haven't got the spare part, we'll get it fixed. So
okay,
we've always been, we see the tool as a tool of the trade, and it's the easy way is just to throw it in the bin and get another one. But we say it's a quality item. Let's see if we can fix it, and let's see if we can fix it.
Are you a hands-on type of guy yourself?
Yeah, look, I am. When I put my mind to it, I'm probably not as much as what I used to.
Yeah.
But I do like to fiddle around a bit and do a few things every now and again.
And what would we find in your garage at home, given you can have pretty much any tool that you want?
It's a bit like the old story about a plumber or a builder in their own home.
Yeah.
I've got a great little man shed. It's a fantastic setup. I renovated my house 9 years ago, and it was one of the preempt things. I wanted to have my own little man shed, which has been set up fantastic. And I've got our toolbox, and I've got a great bench and great storage, and fantastic storage within the garage. It's amazing. The more storage you seem to build and have, the more stuff you accumulate.
Yeah, that's true for everyone, isn't it?
So you've got a good setup. Tools, though, I seem to accumulate samples and bits and pieces. I haven't got the full gleaming, EVA foam tray, and the latest EVA foam trays. I want to get that, though. I do want to set that up, but I find myself loaning a lot of my stuff out, and then I'll keep it. I give it away.
I can imagine you're a good mate to have when there's a job to be done.
Kincrome jackets. I think I've given away about 50 Kincrome. I wear a Kincrome jacket most days. Oh, I like that. What size are you, mate? And I give it away to people.
Oh, that's good. That's all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of fun.
What does a typical day look like for you, given the size of your operation internationally? Now, you don't send faxes anymore.
No, lots of emails. God, emails. What do we do for emails? In fact, yeah.
How would you describe your your job, your focus, and then into a day-to-day?
So less of the day-to-day stuff for me now, which has been hard. It's not been an easy exercise for me over the years from, doing every process in the business from, loading product on the system, buying it, pick, packing, dispatch it, invoicing, getting the money in. So as we've grown through the business, myself and my brother, we've found that we've now got to it's not the doing, it's the managing and now mentoring and spending time talking and directing our team. That's a big part of my day now, which is a different work attitude. Different. I feel some days you walk in, God, I've done is talk all day, where and action items out and get different things done. But I find it's less doing and more mentoring and managing people.
And is that a one-on-one consultation? Is that standing up at the start of the day and giving a stern speech
to everyone? Yeah. No, not a rah-rah. I'm better one-on-one, I think. I like being one-on-one with people. I love walking stores, getting out. I love walking stores. Most Saturdays I'm out walking plumbing stores, tool shops, auto store, all over the place. So
is that to check
what we're doing and a bit of checking? I just like being in stores. I just like seeing merchandise and what's happening out in the marketplace. Asking people what are they buying, what do they do, and how they go about it. I love catching tradies and what's in your toolbox, mate, and what do you use that for, and how often do you use it? Where do you buy it from? Why do you buy that brand? All that type of stuff.
You do a fair bit of testing.
Lots.
In-house.
Yep.
How often do you do that? Like, how much does it take to ensure that quality remains quality?
Engineering team downstairs. We've got 3 in engineering down in Taiwan, in Australia, I should say, in Scoresby, and we've got a couple in Taiwan and one in China now. So we do a lot of our own in-house testing.
Okay.
So all of our, especially anything that's got a mandatory standard like trolley jacks, bottle jacks, axle stands and things like that, we have to test, and we test vigorously.
And do you do random testing?
Every shipment.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure it's in...
Yep.
That's right, okay.
Do a lot of it.
Do you have a loyal following? Do you have I only buy Kincrome and...
Yeah. Look, it's something for me, it's always been sort of probably taken for granted. I've been doing it for so long, but when we get the Kincrome Club figures back from on our website, yes, we get an enormous following, and we had a competition on send us in a picture of, I think it was a Valentine's Day competition. Valentine's Day? Some of the things people get up to and some of the were amazing. It was fantastic. Yeah, I think we've got over 28,000 followers on our Kincrome Club following, which is very satisfying. It's fantastic and growing.
What does the club entitle? Is there any?
You get it. I think you get some free T-shirts and giveaways and things, and then that's the club that we're now utilising more to get involved with our trade focus and test. We're going to have a platinum club or an elite club we're going to send samples, and so tooling samples and things like that we're going to release to the market, give it a go and see it gives feedback from the trade.
Okay.
Not just us dropping it off, and doing shock testing or UV testing and things like that, but out the trade where the tools are used and abused. We want to find out how people use them and where we can improve them.
Do you have an example of something that's gone out and then you've had to improve? Like, have you missed anything in the design of a tool?
Yeah, I think we did it when we did our hammer, and we had a 3-piece injection handle, which was a little bit different. A lot of other rubber handles are a 1-piece handle. We did a 3-piece, but it was interesting in one of the design where the joins was right in the middle of the palm. Right. So after you've used it for a while, and when it's brand new, it's beautiful. Fantastic. But after you use it for a long time, and hammers are used for lots of other things than just hammering, they're tomahawks, they're used for every damn thing.
Levers.
Chocks, levers and
yep,
everything like that. So when we tested it, there was an issue that it became rough, and we had to change the whole handle design.
In the join you're talking about, became rough?
Well, then, yeah, it just split away from the actual TPR rubber compound to the actual PVC, so it was a 3-piece injection mould.
Yep.
So we had to change the whole design.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take for that? Was that an instant thing, or?
No, it takes to retool up's probably another 90 to 120 days program.
I mean, for the fault to show up.
Oh, when we do that, we normally do 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
We sort of give them out and say, boys, really cut loose on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and break them.
Try and break them.
I'm sure.
Did on a couple of toolboxes we did some aluminium truck boxes, because aluminium, especially in the weld, it just makes it brittle, and and when you heat aluminium, it just makes it soft.
Yeah.
So when we did some under ute boxes, and where it was welding, just the actual nuts when they were fixed to the bottom of a ute, they just used to pull through. Any weight would just in the back of a ute.
And you got vibration issues, and
so we ended up having to reinforce them, the actual bottom of the under ute box, with another ply of a heavier grade aluminium. Okay. So yeah.
Do you go that deep into products? Do you sort of like?
Yeah, I probably get too deep into product, but I love product.
Yeah,
I'm a product guy.
So you're a tool guy who runs a business rather than a businessman who sells tools?
I'm a tool guy, yeah. I'm a tool guy, love it. Yeah.
What's the, changing tacks a little bit, I guess, what's the worst advice you've either heard or been given in business?
Oh, not advice. Worst advice? Not advice, but from what I've seen is I just see some of the bad things, seeing people that are successful or taking things for granted and arrogance. I think what happens is you see people that get a certain arrogance about them. And I don't think you can afford to be arrogant in any business. I think you've got to be level-headed and on the ground and, work with your customers and, overcome objections and problems. But I just see, arrogance coming in, and then once that sort of comes from at a management level, it seeps through. So something that I don't ever want to see happen in our business.
Do you think that because you're very growth and improvement oriented, that can override some of those problems? Because if you sort of never rest and you're always looking to improve, then possibly do you not become complacent and get a bit lazy and arrogant, or however you described it?
Well, we talk about constant improvement a lot within the business. As long as we get better.
Yeah.
As long as we have to double or we have to get, anything. But as long as we get better, as long as we do things better, and if we making mistakes is good. I don't mind making mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. It's probably been my best mentors to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because at least you go, well, don't do that again. Go the other way.
Yeah.
So I think and we encourage people to have a go at things. One of our values is get it done. So it's have a go at things. Don't have to ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness. It's probably a little bit better.
You're not worried about people getting reckless?
Not really. It's as long as it's not crazy. For us, it's let's have a go at things.
Yep.
We have it. I think we don't try and get too off track. We're not going to go mad, and we've done some silly things in the past, but I think we've pulled ourselves up pretty quickly. As long as you don't, let's not do that anymore. We had to go with importing fake grass, synthetic grass.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not our business. We're in the tools and equipment.
Was it Kincrome grass? Was it?
No, it was another brand, but it was just, we'll have a go at this when the drought was on.
Right.
I think we imported it and broke the drought. So.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to have a go at things and trust your judgment. But if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world.
Is that attitude, coming back to your dad, was he that way? Did you see that growing up?
Yeah, very much.
Okay.
Yeah, very much.
So
Yeah,
you followed in his footsteps.
yeah, very much.
In that regard.
Very much.
And you've got, you obviously get a lot of comments about the similarities between your father and yourself.
Yep.
And you've got two boys, I understand, of
Yep.
your own.
Yep.
And are they? Is that a third person in the same footsteps? Is there? Or,
Not seeing it. Probably it might be.
how old are they?
I've got my oldest boy Harry. He's just turned 20, and my youngest boy Mac. He is 17.
Okay.
And my brother Paul. He's got two boys as well. I've got Thomas and Jack. Thomas is 21 and Jack's 18.
Oh, it's very similar.
Yeah. So yeah, they're good boys. They're really good boys. Look, I'd love them to come into the business and do what I've done. You know, work in from Burson days, and work on the ground floor with the boys and work up, understand the business.
And can you see yourself in them in that have a go attitude?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I think there's always. I hope they're better. You know, don't you always want your kids to be better than yourself?
Yeah, I think we see so many examples of businessmen and women, if you like, who are really successful, but then it doesn't translate for whatever reason to the next generation. And for your dad to be as successful as he has growing your business, and then to bring you through to the point where you can run it, is it's a credit to him and to you as a family that it's worked that way, because it's not an everyday thing.
Yep. Actually, you should probably let's call him Ron, because he hates being called Dad.
Okay, call him Ron. Sorry, Ron, if you listen to fact check this.
So yeah, Ron, he loves it. Yeah. Look, I just see that that's probably one of the biggest challenges my brother and I, Paul and I, got, is that next generation coming through the business.
Yeah.
It's not their. We see it's not their birthright. They're going to be coming and run the business.
Yes.
But if they're good enough and they get involved and want to get involved and want to drive the business, we'd love them to. They know that.
Do you talk to them?
Yeah, we have.
About that. Do you talk business to them? Do you? I mean, how do you sort of walk that line between intruding too much on, I guess, the life that they're going to have, but steering them in the right direction? I mean, I've got young kids myself, and I'm not to that stage yet, clearly, but I already think about how do you do the best, give the best of both worlds?
Yeah, I can't give you any advice other than just got to take it as it comes. Yeah, look, I think it's probably, with Ron and myself, we, every time we catch up for dinner with our families, my wife always goes, look, it's enough for shop talk, that's enough for tool talk. Let's
put your spanners away.
Yeah, let's talk about family, and because we do probably get a bit intrigued about, not intrigued, we get overly passionate about what we're doing, and talk about staff and products and customers and all that sort of stuff. So we got to turn off and think about family.
Is that a challenge sometimes?
Very much.
It is, okay.
Very much.
Is there anything that you do outside of your role here that you feel allows you to be successful? Like, are you an early riser? Do you really take strict control of your diet? Is there anything sort of like that
not my diet.
That you kind of feel that aids you to do the best job here?
No, look, no overall discipline of overall. I think asking questions.
Okay.
I think I'm not bad at asking questions. I think that's something that I'm trying to get. I think it's something I always get better at. But I think asking questions and learning from people, and then benchmarking yourself against people. I think what you're doing now, I think, is important. Learning from other people and what their successes are and what their experiences are, not to replicate, but to learn off and how you can adapt it to what you can do. It's important.
Do you have a couple of questions that you often go to with people? Like, do you think about that in advance? Is it a structured thing in your mind, or you naturally talk about it, or how does that work?
No, I just ask whatever comes into my mind. How do you go about it? How do you feel? How would you approach these sort of situations? What's your, why are we doing this? Yeah, just the what, why, when, how type things.
Okay, just natural be naturally inquisitive about what's going on.
Learning.
Have you got any advice for young girls and guys beginning in the workforce who are dedicated to building a career, building a business?
I think, passion. Got to love it.
Yep.
If you don't love it and you haven't got any passion, do something that you have got it. That's legal.
Of course.
But do something. Yeah, I think passion. I love doing what I'm doing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you can tell. And so does Ron.
Ron, we love it. It's something that we really love doing. And I love doing it with the team that we've got. And I think that's very, very important. I think, secondary, if you love what you're doing, secondary will be financial success and stuff like that. But I think you can get hung up on that. I think financially being successful is a secondary thing, because there's always some other bastard that's got more money anyway, so what's it matter?
Yeah.
And measuring yourself against what car they drive or what watch they wear, and that's just, you can get that from a bank. So always be careful. The wealthiest people I've ever met are the ones you most least expect.
In what way? It's not shown.
I met a multi-billionaire last week in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Who looked like he didn't have $2 to rub together.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because
married to an ex-Bond girl, awesome bloke. Had a beer at the bar, great bloke. When I googled him, I went, Jesus, he's a multi-billionaire. Yeah, Irishman.
Is there anything that you took out of that conversation that was of particular importance to where you are now?
I think asking questions about what he was doing and how he went about it. I think, just meeting people. I think it's a good, meeting people and learning from them.
Are you a reader? Do you have any books or documentaries that you recommend?
Not an overly vivacious. No, I wouldn't say I'm a big reader.
Okay.
I actually listen to talking books because I travel a lot.
Yes.
Download a bit of that. But biographies I like.
Have you got a particular favourite?
I like the Packer one. I always thought that was very good. The rise and fall of Alan Bond I thought that was a ripper. You look at some of the things that he did that he got caught on, and he did some shonky things, but some of the things he did were really good. Like brought Hyundai to Australia. He did some really good things, but just did a few things weren't too good. But yeah.
Just a couple of last questions here. If you'd have one law change, what would it be?
Law changed?
Zero income tax rate?
The government needs tax to survive. If they don't get it off one, they'll get it off something else.
You happy?
Yeah, well,
it's a nice place to live, Australia.
Yeah, Australia's a great place to live. It really is, compared to places around the world. It's clean, safe. Yeah, I'll leave that to the government. I don't want to get involved in that.
No, fair enough. Is your brother Paul, is he currently living overseas?
No, but he's spending a lot of time overseas.
Okay.
At the moment.
Does he travel with his family or does he travel separate? Or it just depends?
Okay. Yeah, a bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of both.
I'd imagine that the UK stuff would have taken you've got to spend a bit of time in new markets, I guess, when you first open them, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, the UK reports back to me at the moment.
Okay.
So, because it's with Bunnings and what we do.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed UK. I think it's, people say it's grey and dark and miserable. It's a bit grey. It does get a bit wet.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about the opportunity up there. I think the opportunity with broad range of product, one place to go to and shop. The UK is very strong on internet and internet buying, but I think that's because all the retailers haven't been great merchants.
Okay.
I think they've cut back on stock, they've cut back on ranges, cut back on brands, and I think it's going to be a big change. I think what Bunnings will do in Australia, in the UK I should say, will be it'll take a while, but it'll be a groundbreaker.
And what's construction like compared to Australia?
Huge, flying.
In the UK?
Flying. Yeah, lots of construction, lots of things happening over in the UK. Yeah, they're having a housing boom like we are.
Yeah, right.
So housing market's booming over there.
Okay.
Lots, yeah.
Yeah, it's this housing boom in Australia is whenever you think it's going to end, it just keeps going, doesn't it? It's crazy.
Same in New Zealand. New Zealand's the same.
Yeah.
Like they've been very proactive with opening up new tracts of land, and the government's been more proactive than what they have been here. Fantastic.
Do you have a warehouse in New Zealand?
Yep.
Is that right? Yep.
Yeah, so we have operation in New Zealand as well. So they've, we've been going through it, but when we're getting 100,000 people a year into Victoria.
Yeah.
So and that's happening in just about in every state.
Yeah.
So that's 100,000 homes.
Supports the growth, isn't it? Yeah. Mm. Do you have any parting words, anything to add before we wrap up?
I really appreciate the time to spend with you, and I hope it's successful. How have you found what we've done today?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Like I said before we started, I'd be silly if I thought I was going to sit down with someone like you and not learn something or a new perspective or a way I can think about things, which I think the questions thing that you mentioned resonated with me, because I always think in the back of my mind to have one or two questions sort of just back there in case you happen to sit next to someone who's been successful in business, or that you might be able to learn off, or whatever. So I think that's really really important, and I've got a natural interest in learning and getting better. So I appreciate it. How can people best connect with Kincrome? Is that through the club going forward?
Through the website, fantastic. I think it's the best way. And join the Kincrome club. Go to any of our valued resellers with our customers, especially at the plumbing stores with TradeLink. A great partner, and get involved. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to let you get back to the rest of your day. But once again, Justin, thanks a lot for doing this, and thanks to Glenn for setting it up too.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Hey everybody, it's Matt again. Thanks for listening. Just a couple of things before you guys clock off. You can get all Trench Talk episodes at xrm.com.au/podcast. You can also sign up for other goodies at the same site. Just plonk your email in there and you are covered. That's X for X-ray, R for Romeo, M for Mike.com.au/podcast. If you really like what I'm bringing you, please head to iTunes, subscribe to this show, and leave a review right there. And lastly, if you want to contact me directly, type the @ symbol followed by Mr. Matt Reynolds into your search bar, and you'll find all the social links. Goodbye.